Hi, Susan here, Native Unknown, and I came across this dude. Yep, that dude right there. His name is John Wolfe, and I love his videos. They are just like, he like really dives deep in these paranormal videos and like talks about it, and his humor is top tier. And he just really fact checks a lot of stuff he talks about, which I like a lot because other people don't do that. A lot of people do not do that. And then I seen this video about the boys, and as you can see, I'm a fan. From buying their merch to sending this right here, that right there, yep, that was me. I sent that to Juicy because I'm a fan, and Juicy, I feel like we're on the same brainwave leaf, and he's hilarious. And you know, if you don't know who the boys are like, it's Josh, Juicy, it's Molly, it's Eddie, and it is the narrator, which I'm like, the narrator. And they started with VR, and this dude explains a lot of it. They started with VR, then they like just started doing like funny videos, and then they started doing paranormal videos that really interested me and got me. But I started watching The Boys when I was in a really, really dark time. I lost a member in my family, and it was just horrible. And then I like felt like the world was going to just end. And then the funnies with The Boys, and I really became a big fan. But this dude named John Wolfe came and started explaining stuff, and I really I don't like question. I don't know why. I just watch. I'm just cool video, you know. But the paranormal boys. Sorry, this is really long. And then I'm like, crap, I wish we just kept me in the dark. And he made some very fair points about the paranormal in this video, and then fair points about the equipment that I use very personally myself. So I will link his video in the description below so you don't hear me ramble and you can just watch it yourself. So this is just from a actual paranormal investigator viewpoint. I'm literally nobody, but here we are.
So, it's been 10 straight months of people asking me to check out The Boys.
Somewhere is nothing I want to talk about more.
No, not those boys. These boys.
Welcome back to the asylum.
The Boys are a group of YouTubers that started out doing stuff like whatever this is. No judgment, I'm just too old, I guess. I think it's a
top tier comedy.
VR chat meme or something like that. And now they've become pretty well known for their ghost hunting videos. In particular, this one from last year, featuring our favorite guests, Sam and Colby.
True.
And what they
I literally sat there and watched Sam and Colby that he does, and I doubt anybody wants me to go and watch those because there's like 3 episodes and they're very long. But if they're literally, if somebody's like, hey, I want to watch the other ones, I want you to deep dive on those with them, I will. Because the Sam and Colby thing, it's not really them. It's more of the person that came across, which everybody knows, the Cody and, was it Satari or something like that?
uncovered at this haunted asylum was truly terrifying.
Is that someone moving? What? Oh, yes! No. Oh, no.
Is it because I'm sexy, you know what I mean? I just got the craziest chills and I feel really sad, like I'm about to cry.
Okay. Okay.
The f was that?
Whoa! The f was that?
What? What the f?
And there's gonna be a lot of people saying, oh, that's fake.
Did the boys capture the most compelling paranormal evidence ever?
What the f is that? That's John.
If you're not familiar with The Boys, here's a brief introduction. They're 5 guys that started out on their own individual channels, and from what I can tell, most or all of them made VR gaming content before all this. There's Eddie, Juicy, Narrator, Mully, and Josh. They came together 4 years ago to create a group channel called The Boys, where they upload everything from them making food to hunting ghosts. And before I go any further, I gotta say, props to these guys for pulling it off. Group channels are extremely difficult to keep going, especially when the group is as large as 5 people. It takes a lot of effort and coordination to keep all 5 people on board without someone falling out with someone else, and they've been keeping it up for 4 years now, so hats off to them. If I had a hat, I would take it off right now. As someone who's been around on YouTube for a long time, I've seen channels like this implode in just a couple years, if even that long. So I'm honestly impressed. All right, now that's over with, let's dive into this haunted asylum video. You may notice by the title, we went back to the haunted asylum, that they've actually been to it before, 2 years ago. We'll talk about that first video they did later. The asylum they visited is the Airedale Mental Hospital in Victoria, Australia. In their video, you may hear the boys call it Ararat instead, which is the asylum's original name. Now, whether you call the asylum Ararat or Airedale, if you visit, you should err on the side of caution. Just trying to have some fun. Normally, I like delving into the history of the buildings that these paranormal YouTubers explore, but actually, this time, the history of Airedale isn't that relevant. In other paranormal videos I've reviewed, the building's history is very important to the paranormal narrative around it. The Conjuring House or Bobby Mackey's Music World, for example. But the boys' exploration of Airedale isn't so much rooted in the historical context of the asylum as it is the idea that they captured some crazy footage there. So crazy that I've gotten a ton of comments specifically about this video. So, 10 months after it came out, I finally watched it. And I have a lot of thoughts.
You're a little late, John.
I appreciate. Can you be more punctual next time?
Okay, you know what? You guys just wait. You're gonna wish I never showed up at all. For the first hour or so of this haunted asylum video, it's pretty typical paranormal investigation stuff. Their little ghost detection devices light up when nothing's around, and then all 20 of them gasp and point. And after about an hour of that, I was wondering, like, why did so many people ask me to debunk this? Well, it took almost an hour and a half, but I got my answer. There's some very interesting footage, all right? This comment with 6,000 upvotes even declares that the boys have captured, quote, some of the best pieces of paranormal evidence in the world. All right, well, we'll get to the incredible evidence of...
I also like how it like skips. Narrator doing the stanky leg.
The paranormal in just a minute, but I'd be remiss to not go through the first half of the video first.
Whoa!
What the hell?
That was the door.
John, if that was you.
That was the door.
Yeah, it was me. The boys' haunted asylum video starts off with a bang.
A. Sam and A, B, C. Sam and Colby?
So if you've seen my videos on the Conjuring House and former staff members Cody and Satori, the boys are making fun of their spirit contact method here.
QRST.
In fact, they make the joke more than a couple times in this video.
A, B, C, D, D.
Oh man, my whole body is like tingling right now.
A, B, C, D, E.
As someone who's had to sit through hours of footage of Cody and Satori performing their little psychic magic trick, I did appreciate the joke. But after watching the entire video, I find these jokes kind of ironic. We'll revisit that later. Now, if you're wondering how Sam and Colby react to these jokes, they don't acknowledge them at all. You gotta wonder what kind of legal stranglehold the people at the Conjuring House have Sam and Colby in. It's like they're afraid to even laugh. So then they... Wait, what's this?
This is a core collection and it includes a backpack, a water bottle, this super cool bomber jacket.
Oh, it's an ad. That's fine, I guess.
Whoever's editing this video, can you please Photoshop in the right beanie? I'm wearing the wrong beanie today.
Whoever's editing this video, you don't even have legal stranglehold the people at the Conjuring House have Sam and Colby in. It's like they're afraid to even laugh. So then they... Wait, what's this?
This is a core collection and it includes a backpack, a water bottle, this super cool bomber jacket.
Oh, it's an ad. That's fine, I guess.
Whoever's editing this video, can you please Photoshop in the right beanie? I'm wearing the wrong beanie today.
Whoever's editing this video, you don't even know who your editors are? That blows my mind. Just as someone...
Let me stop you right there. The boys have many editors. Like, I'm like 95% sure. I mean, you can fact check me on this because I have, honestly, not 100. But I'm like quite certain they have multiple editors. So it probably just gets passed to whomever and then they edit. They have so much content coming out. You have to have more than one. I'm just saying. Continue, my dude.
Who also makes videos on YouTube, I can't imagine the creative process being so corporatized that you don't even know who the editor is. Not trying to pick on Molly too hard here, but I guess it just highlights to me how vastly different our YouTube worlds are, you know? It's time to get cozy because the boys are about to set the atmosphere for this place.
We're back at the Ararat Insane Asylum in Victoria. This place, I think, has the darkest history.
The most amount of tragedy out of anywhere we've ever been has happened here.
As soon as it got dark, you could definitely feel it.
Make sure you go to the Boys store.
Wait, what?
Me and Molly are out on the street right now interviewing people to see if they're subscribed to the Boys Gaming.
Okay, listen, I get it. You gotta advertise some things now and then, but at the beginning of the video, right as you're setting things up, just as your audience is starting to focus and get immersed in the world, you just interrupt the pacing with an ad? I mean, who does that?
So, today's sponsor is nobody because I sponsor myself. I watch a full-time mom and I work on the weekends. So, support me.
This video is sponsored by Factor. Factor makes mediation mustache jump scare. Apologies, I've gone full dad mode. And with 2 kids under 2 years old, frankly, time is scarce. Factor's been a great way for us to steer the overpowering wolf 50 on your check in on what day it's boys are up to. The boys finally enter the asylum, and right away it's clear they're taking this investigation very seriously.
Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls.
Hey,
it's funny watching Sam and Colby be so goofy at this place and chanting a joke into the mirrors, considering how serious I've seen them during other mirror chants.
Joanna Jewel, Joanna Jewel, Joanna Jewel.
In this clip, Sam is solemnly chanting the name of a person who didn't actually exist, by the way. See my haunted nightclub videos for details. The boys eventually settle down, and my favorite part of these ghost hunting videos begins. The part where they reverently describe incredibly sketchy devices as if they're very scientific, actually. You've got the light up cat balls.
Guys, one of the cat balls actually just moved out there.
You've got the so-called phantom music box shaped like a gramophone.
Yeah, it's motion sensor, so if it gets close to it, it'll start going off.
Just testing the sensitivity.
Whoa.
And you've also got these weird handheld blinking things.
If something's near, this will blink, and then you can do, it's a yes or no thing, so if it goes forward and backwards once, that's for yes.
Oh.
So it'll go back and forth, and if it does it twice, then that's no.
Remember that. 1 swipe for yes, 2 swipes for no. It's important. Finally, they've also got this lantern that they say is an EMF meter. They spend the first 1/3 of the video or so just playing around with these devices, so let's quickly check if they're legit or not.
Hold on, John. Damn.
Come on, guys, let's test.
Hold on, John. Damn.
So this gramophone thing, the one that says phantom music box on the side, I can't find anything about it at all.
You quite literally cannot. I personally never used one, but I'm just guessing, like he explains in the video, that it's personal, like it's a personal, like somebody made a forum, and which, you know, I searched it up too and I couldn't find it, so.
Online. They say it has a motion sensor on the front, but I don't see where it would be unless it was the gramophone itself. This thing constantly goes off and interrupts their train of thought, by the way.
And at some stage, this girl come off a horse.
Dude. Oh my God, I swear to God.
This girl come off of a horse, and she like...
It's too
Thanks
loud
for the
for my
soundtrack,
comfort,
John.
to be
But she didn't
honest.
die. She survived.
I wouldn't use it.
And then there's Sydney. It was pretty rough over there, and he came back and had a mental breakdown here.
Like, what is happening?
Why is it playing different sounds?
Yeah. God, he can't even finish his story. That's how much stuff is happening.
Eventually, they've clearly had enough, and narrator turns it off. Wish I could tell you more about the Phantom Music Box, but Googling that term came up with no relevant results. So I'm thinking this may be a one-of-a-kind device. I've seen this kind of thing happen before. Sometimes there's a sketchy device used in an investigation that doesn't appear to be mass-produced. So it could be a prototype that was gifted to the team. I saw Nick Groff from Ghost Adventures use gimmick devices like that in his show Paranormal Lockdown. He used these Geoport spirit box things in his investigation, and when I looked into them, it turned out that they were these privately created prototypes, and there were only like 5 of them ever produced. So that may be what this Phantom Music Box thing is. It doesn't really matter though, because like I said, they just turn it off half an hour into the investigation anyway, and we never see it again.
I'm gonna turn this off for now because I got a feeling.
EMF sensors.
The device with the blinking light is something called the Ghost Meter EMF sensor. It costs $40 online, and there's minimal information about it. Apparently, the version the boys are using is the Pro version, which has a dialogue mode. I'll let narrator describe.
Never heard it until this video, you know, the boys, and never used it, so.
What this mode is.
Forward and backwards once, that's for yes.
Oh.
So it'll go back and forth, and if it does it twice, then that's no.
According to YouTuber ScreamFreak79, the instructions for this device specifically state that you're supposed to tell the ghost it's once for yes, twice for no.
Are you a good ghost? Ping once for yes, twice for no.
And this is a pretty common clarification, actually. Even our favorite scam artists, Cody and Satori, make sure they tell the ghost this simple rule.
1 for yes, 2 for no.
But whenever the boys use the meter, they just ask the question and assume that the ghost will know the rules. They don't tell it once for yes, twice for no.
Do you like that we're here? That Eddie came back? Oh. Immediate. No.
And maybe the ghost doesn't need it, but as it turns out, the boys certainly do, because they get it mixed up a few times themselves.
Wait, it would be crazy if we asked if it was a different name and it said no.
I didn't notice this when I watched the video.
Remember, it's once for yes and twice for no, Sam.
True.
The boys seem to have trouble remembering this simple rule several times. The needle's supposed to move only once for yes, but they act like it says yes even when it moves twice.
Is the person that poked Eddie in the ribs still here? Yes.
But frankly, I think this ghost meter is pretty sketchy anyway. Just listen to Scream Freak read the instructions.
Okay, it says Mode 1, recent ghosts appear every 3 to 5 minutes. That's an interesting claim. Mode 2, ancient ghosts appear every 7 to 15 minutes.
So yeah, I don't trust this so-called ghost meter.
Yeah, that's not how it works, Bubba. Excuse me, that's not how that works.
Meter at all. The instructions outright state how often a ghost will appear for you while you're using it. Now, why would it state something like that? One reason that comes to mind is that it may be programmed to automatically go off at the intervals it cites in the instructions. And look at the back of the packaging. They suggest that you charge people for using the device to contact ghosts for them. I mean, if that's not a red flag. And for some reason, it also features the widely debunked photo of the Raynham Hall ghost on the side. Not exactly filling me with confidence about this thing's scientific merit. Unfortunately, the ghost meter is the device they use the most, but they mostly just ask funny questions through it, and it doesn't end up generating any crucial evidence or anything.
EMF lantern, never used the one, so.
The EMF lantern almost never does anything except one time near the end.
Does this happen to be a lady ghost?
What? Whether or not it's actually an EMF detector, I'm not sure. But it spends almost the entire video not doing anything at all, so we can just ignore it. And as for those cat balls that Sam keeps asking about,
I'm just really confused why that cat ball keeps going off.
they're literally just cat toys. They're not ghost hunting devices. I recommend checking out Kenny Biddle's 2019 article about these cat toys, where he actually opens them up and looks at the internal mechanisms. CliffsNotes version is that they're very cheaply made, and one reason they're so popular for ghost hunting is because they'll just randomly go off sometimes.
Which, excuse me, it makes sense, but like, you can also see too, a little bit in there. It's just, I mean, these never go off. Has never went off in investigation, and I still probably keep using them because it's cool. So.
Depending on the angle of the internal tilt sensor. Funnily enough, one line of the cat balls is produced by DesTech, which is actually Cody Desbian's company. Yeah, that Cody.
Hey.
Again, I don't want to spend too much time on the devices, even though the majority of the video's runtime is the boys messing around with them, because I want to get to the actually interesting part of the video as quickly as possible. At the same time though, I'm not gonna let them get away with any ticky-tack stuff either, so we'll check in on a few more things first.
You like this, John? Watch this. Ready? Carry it over. Go.
I freaking love the edit-ins.
Thanks, John. Yeah, bro.
So there's this whole sequence where narrator and Sam and Colby teach a ghost the stanky leg.
Dude, he loves the stanky leg.
He loves the stanky leg, bro.
It goes on and on for several minutes.
But he likes it, right?
Do you like the stanky leg, John? If I just...
Honestly, I didn't even want to mention it in
I
this
thought it was
video.
cute. It's funny.
I'm a total fun sucker, I know, but it's just not my humor, I guess.
It's okay.
So you gotta put your foot out. All right, you gotta rotate your whole body. It's like a side worm, so you gotta go like this.
Oh shit, bro.
Did you get it that time, John?
John, do you like that?
John, did you like that? Did you like that, John? Did you like the stanky leg, John? John, do you want to learn the stanky leg, John? John.
John, are they taking a shit in the bathroom right now?
Side note, when I watched Eddie react to this part of the video, he said something very interesting about it.
Okay, so I haven't seen this footage yet. I haven't seen this yet.
So Mully doesn't know who edits the videos, and Eddie doesn't even see the videos before they're already live. It just fascinates me.
Pause again. Once again, they have multiple editors, and they have people who do their editing and stuff that they fully trust, not to screw them over, per se. That's how I see it. And like, it'd be nice to have somebody to edit your videos and then proceed to post the videos. We have to worry about all that, and then watch them later and or not trust. Yeah, you can't trust a lot of people, but I'm glad they have people to trust to do this stuff. That's how I see it. It's cool.
I guess, as a fellow YouTuber, that they're that detached from the production side of their videos. So they just film this stuff, and then some mystery team just whisks it away, and then this mystery team just publishes it without them even seeing it. That seems odd to me. I think they say things like this strategically, but I'll save that point for Act 2. Bookmark it for now. But yeah, the stanky leg bit is just kind of... I mean, it's probably a lot funnier if you believe there's a ghost there interacting with them. But if you don't believe that there's actually a ghost there, then it's just three guys watching narrator do the stanky leg over and over, you know? Which is funny in a different way, I guess. Anyway, Time to get to the main ticky-tack stuff, which is the Estes method section. Oh boy. Roughly half an hour of the video is spent doing the Estes method to talk to ghosts, which you may have seen.
And I've never done this, but my thing is, if I did do this, I would have somebody further away asking questions to ensure that the person with the headphones on cannot hear whatsoever. You know, they're always like right there next to each other. I'm not saying like they're faking it. It's just people who always do this. You know what I'm saying?
In other ghost hunting YouTuber videos, it's a very popular method. The gist is that.
But then again, I'm always alone.
The group sits in a circle and asks the ghost questions. And the ghost answers the questions through words in the static that come through this spirit box device. One person in the group, the listener, is tasked with listening to the spirit box through noise-canceling headphones, and they say the words they hear in the static out loud for the group.
When you arrive?
When the boys arrive, Sam and Colby, or...
Yes.
The idea behind the Estes method is that since the listener, the person holding the spirit box, has noise-canceling headphones on, they can't hear the questions that the people around them are asking. So that means the answers they hear in the static can be interpreted free from personal bias. Supposedly. Now, if you're wondering how the spirit box device itself works, it's simply a radio scanner. It scans nearby radio frequencies and transmits a word or a phrase at a time, seemingly at random. The thing to keep in mind is that the sounds you hear through a box like this are always coming from a radio station nearby, in the physical world. The words that you hear are either from a song, a DJ, a talk show host, or a commercial. And often, the quality of the sound isn't great, so it is open to interpretation a bit for the listener. Now, one thing...
That's why I don't use the spirit box, as I call it, a lot, because the sound isn't great. And I try not to say that I hear something unless it's clear. Sometimes you do get very clear responses till it's responses, but sometimes it's like, So, you know, just if it's clear, loud, I'll say that is what I hear. Then other than that, then it's the quality.
The thing that the boys do with this that I haven't seen other YouTubers do is they apparently recorded the radio signals that came through.
I don't do that. But interesting.
So we can hear them for ourselves. We don't have to just depend on the listener. And I have some thoughts about what I heard. So you know how I just said that the spirit box sounds are pretty open to interpretation from the listener? Well, I think you'll find that the interpretations they went with in this video were extremely liberal. For example, almost all the boys are supposedly named by the spirit at one point or another, which would be amazing, but listen to the actual sounds that come through.
Where? Sam? Eddie?
Why do you...
Molly?
I swear when he said hey.
Narrator.
No f***ing shot.
Confirmation bias is the tendency that we have to interpret things in a way that confirms our existing beliefs. Even if you have noise-canceling headphones on and you can't hear the questions your friends are asking, you can still be influenced in how you interpret what you hear. So Colby, the person translating the spirit box in that scene, hears the names of his friends in the static. But I genuinely don't hear them at all. For example,
Narrator.
No f***ing shot.
Colby hears narrator because it's his friend's name, but I very clearly hear the word married. Colby also hears Eddie in the static, but this sounds like the word any to me.
Eddie?
Now, since these devices are rapidly scanning radio frequencies, the quality of the sound is very low, and it's designed this way on purpose, so you can get thrilling mix-ups like this, where you mistake common words like any and married for the names of your friends that are in the room with you.
He actually, on the Sam and Colby one, he actually tells that, like, REM pods can get, like, set off by radio frequencies, like if you use a walkie-talkie and stuff, so.
I won't spend much more time on this,
Fun
but
fact.
I will point out my two favorite mix-ups. So, narrator's real name is Grant, and I'm not sure how the ghosts would know that, but allegedly they say his real name a few times. Now, please tell me what you hear in this clip.
Grant?
Grand, or
Oh my.
One more time. I'm sorry to be a fun buster,
Grand, it
but
does sound
this
grand.
very clearly says 100 grand. If I had to guess, it's the grand prize of some radio station contest.
Grant
Because remember,
or
the Spirit
grand?
Box is sweeping radio
Or do
stations. Here's another one.
Does sound like 100
This isn't
grand.
someone's name, but
But
still
he-
a great
But
example.
if you look at the screen and you read a word, you're gonna hear 100 grand. And if you look at a screen and you see his name, you're gonna hear that name. It's all with what you hear, your brain hears.
Of
You know what I mean?
confirmation bias.
End my life.
Okay, so to me, the
In my
phrase is
life.
very clearly in my life,
It does
which is
sound
a
like
very
that
common phrase used in everyday conversation. But Sam interprets this as end my life, a phrase that definitely fits the mood of their ghost hunting venture
But what
in
makes
an
sense,
insane
though,
asylum
very
at
good.
night talking to ghosts, but a phrase that I can't imagine someone would say in a sing-songy pop music voice. End my life. And this
End
is
my
exactly
life.
my
It's-
problem with the Estes method. You have common innocent phrases like in my life or married being interpreted in a way that fits the listener's environment.
Yeah.
I said this before in previous videos, but Estes method sessions in these YouTube videos follow the same patterns as improv comedy does. The golden rule of improv comedy is something called yes and. The idea being that when your scene partner improvises something, you don't question it, you simply go along with it so you don't ruin the scene. Yes, and. And with these Estes sessions, as long as you don't question what you're hearing too much and just go along with it, things can start making an eerie amount of sense. They'll stretch things as far as they can go in order to build a narrative. And actually, there's a perfect example of the boys going to great lengths to keep a built narrative going. In the first room they do the Estes method in, supposedly a new spirit walks into the room.
Who's in here with us?
April?
Now, setting aside that, to me, this sounds more like an Australian DJ being cut off from saying the phrase, a problem. April. We'll just go with the boys' interpretation that it's the name April. However, they soon move to a second room, which they do after hearing the spirit say this.
Three Doors Down?
Now, Three Doors Down is the name of a rock band, by the way. Again, these are actual radio station signals they're picking up.
Pop through band.
So I guess the radio station DJ was introducing a Three Doors Down song. But which one was it? Kryptonite? Here
Kryptonite Go
Without
Hard.
You? When I'm Gone? So many early 2000s hits to choose from. We'll never know. They actually decide to move 3 doors down from where they were, and they get on an entirely different topic when the word date comes through.
Date?
And Colby wonders if maybe the name April they heard in room number 1 wasn't the name of a person, but the name of the month.
Or April could be the date, not a name.
About 5 minutes later, this comes through.
Confirmed 25.
Confirmed 25.
Whoa.
And from this point on, the boys just start saying that the spirit outright said April 25th.
He said April and 25.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
He literally said the date.
You basically described Anzac Day and you said April 25th, which in Australia is Anzac Day.
But that's not
true.
The word April was said in room 1, and confirmed 25 was said in room 2. Not only are there 8 video minutes between these two words, which means in real time it's probably more like half an hour or more, these two words aren't even said by the same spirit. At least I think so. Anyway, it's kind of hard to keep straight who's supposedly saying what. Even the
yeah, because like sometimes I'm not gonna lie, like if they're not responding like directly to you like right then and there, then I wouldn't really connect the dots like that. I mean, you know, it just like if they're like it's like intelligent responses, then you're like, oh snap. But like he said, if it's like a good 8 minutes, 10 minutes apart, then I'm just like,
boys don't seem to know. In the first room, they're talking to a ghost named Thompson that enters halfway through their session.
Thompson, were you a patient at this facility?
A couple minutes before the word April is said, Thompson says the word sacrifice, seemingly in reference to Eddie.
Sacrifice.
Oh! Eventually, another ghost named James takes over, which is a ghost they've been talking to all night, off and on.
James, is that you?
James is the one that says the word April about a minute later.
Who's in here with us?
April?
Fast forward to the second room, Sam asks if they're still talking to James, which doesn't get an answer. So then he seems to be asking the other spirit, Thompson, why he was saying Eddie was a sacrifice.
You were calling out Eddie multiple times in the other room. Do you not want him here?
I do.
But then Eddie talks to Thompson as if he's talking to the friendly ghost James.
Happy.
Happy to.
I'm happy to be back. You made me feel very safe here last time.
Even Colby gets confused.
Didn't they say sacrifice?
Hey, bro, that was somebody else, okay?
Okay.
So, I don't get it. Were they talking to Thompson or James?
Yeah.
Were they talking to their friendly ghost that remembers them from last time? Or some military war veteran that wants to talk about April 25th, Anzac Day in Australia? They can't seem to get on the same page, and it makes the
they're trying their best.
Entire half hour of SS sessions very confusing. Like I said, I consider these SS sessions basically just improv and role playing. The words are consistently misinterpreted, the narrative is stitched together across multiple rooms from multiple speakers.
But see, my thing is though with the boys, like they're like, this is trying to be entertaining. They're trying to, you know, and I mean they're doing their best. They're doing okay. But like I wish he would have left me in the dark. I should have never watched this video. But I get where he's coming from, John, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. It's just...
speakers, and they can't seem to put together a coherent story. Even Colby seems to get low-key frustrated by it.
What's his name, Eddie?
Eddie, what's his name?
Is it Thompson? Is it April? Is it 1980? I don't know anymore.
Everything that we've covered up until now. The devices, the Estes sessions. This is the kind of stuff I like to interpret using Hanlon's razor, which is a philosophical guideline that says to never attribute to malice which can be adequately explained by stupidity. That's a little harsher than I would state it, okay? I'm just quoting. I wouldn't call the boys stupid.
They're not.
In fact, from what I've seen, the five of them, along with Sam and Colby, are imaginative and resourceful people. They love connecting the dots, they love solving mysteries, they love constructing good narratives for their YouTube content. So I've been trying to look at what they've shown so far through this lens. It doesn't look to me like they're trying to maliciously trick anyone. It looks to me like they're simply getting a little carried away in all the excitement and all the puzzle solving. You know, they've got
whenever you're doing a paranormal investigation, you are excited. You just like, it's like kind of overwhelming sometimes. There's a lot going on, and I completely understand where the boys are like getting things a little confused because it's exciting. You're in this place that's creepy, or adrenaline, how do you say it's going? Because you're like, it's really, that's why I like going. I go by myself a lot because of this reason. It's spooky, it's scary, it's fun. But a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of people, like, you're just overwhelmed, and there's a lot going on upstairs, like, in your head, and like, I completely see why the boys can get things mixed up. You see how many people's there? It's a lot of people, a lot going on, and I genuinely think they believed that the paranormal was trying to tell him things. So.
Got a big group here. 7 young YouTuber guys hanging out, making a video they know is probably going to get millions of views. Like, who wants to be the guy that says, "Well, wait a second, did it actually say narrator, or did it say something like Mary?"
See, and this is why I like to watch these videos with John, because, you know, a lot of these videos, like the boys and stuff, I don't question. But if I go watch, like, I would just watch this video on Nuke's Top 5 and Slap Ham, which Slap Ham, I thought watching Nuke's Top 5 really seemed like they fell off. And I'm just like, a lot of that stuff I will debunk. It's just who I am, what I do. I question it and everything, like, because a lot of stuff you see on YouTube is fake. My channel, I try my hardest to keep it legitimate, like this video. You see that? You see that little, what's the bug? The paranormal? Sorry, I had to put it in. But it's just, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I forgot what I was saying. Let's get back to the video.
Come on, nobody wants to be the wet blanket, right? I get it.
It does sound like
Even
Mary.
if I was there with them, I don't know if I'd halt the video pacing to a crawl every 5 feet to question the veracity of what's happening. Not that it's any excuse, but I'm just saying it's understandable. Now, we're over an hour into this video, and on my first view, like I said earlier, I was scratching my head. Why did so many people want me to watch this video? To be blunt, nothing that interesting was happening. These devices going off, this Estes method stuff, I think all of it has
I got a kid, and I thought she was scratching it, like,
a
with the
rational
door.
explanation,
Her
and
boys.
I would hazard a guess that the boys are simply getting
My husband's in the next room with her. Chill.
excited and interpreting it as more than it is. But my generous interpretation of their intentions is about to arrive at an impasse, because something's about to happen that draws a very definitive line in the sand. It's either something very real or something very staged or edited. And there's not really any room in between. It's time to discuss the full body apparition. Once again, they're doing the Estes method in a third room, this time with Sam on the spirit box. They're joking around, narrator's doing the stanky leg thing.
Get it?
Again, until the ghost says they've had enough of that.
I'm gonna walk over to this thing right here in the corner, okay?
It's enough of Grant.
Finally, someone said it.
It's like,
That's
sit
enough,
down.
Grant. Yeah, I know. I'm a certified fun hater. Anyway, it's about to get good. The funny
He's
stuff
hilarious,
quickly
though.
comes to an end when the boys claim they see something.
Dude, you can see it. You can see it.
And as it turns out, they're right. There is someone or something there with them.
The f was that?
I was fully expecting this dude to put himself in this part whenever he said that. I was fully expecting it and I didn't get it, and I was like, dang. I was hoping that the John fellow would like put himself in like, oh, it was me, you know.
What was that?
Bro, what the f was that? I just saw somebody. I swear to God, I just saw a fucking shadow walk
The
by.
boys are shocked.
You say me.
No, 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 no.
And so was I. This appears to be a full-body apparition that the boys captured on camera. If it's real, it's possibly the most compelling piece of paranormal evidence.
No, this is. I continue.
Ever caught on video. If it's real. Hi, I'm gonna be playing paranormal weatherman here for a while. So let's get this part out of the way. I find this clip fascinating.
It is.
If it's real, it's incredible. If it's fake, it's still a very cool clip, straight out of a horror movie. There's just enough detail to see the vague outline of a shadowy figure, but not enough detail to be able to confirm or dismiss it. It's truly ambiguous. They caught something here, but what the heck is it? Well, I've watched this clip over and over, slowed it down, zoomed in, brightened it up, and surprisingly, even with all that assistance, it didn't help much. The image here is very lacking in detail, which is partly why it's so compelling. There's nothing I can point to and say, aha, undeniable proof that this is edited, staged, whatever else. With that said, I still have a lot of thoughts. This thing ain't watertight. These points I'm about to bring up aren't what I would call gotchas. They're more just things to think about regarding this scene, because actually, while the footage of the apparition itself is pretty compelling, there's a lot of little things around the footage that I have a problem with.
Makes very fair
But let's start
points.
with the apparition. One thing to keep in mind is that this is an extremely low light environment, and almost any camera, even pretty expensive prosumer models, tend to struggle with low light. I'm not knowledgeable enough to really break it down to a PowerPoint for you, but stuff like this wiggling, blurry line we have here on the left, the corner of the wall just before the darkness, this is the kind of thing that happens with cameras when there's very low light. The camera kind of...
I can indeed confirm, because I will get stuff like that, and it's why a lot of it's just like, it's not paranormal, it's just the camera.
Shrugs and goes, I don't know what's over there, bro. Beats me. I'm just gonna guess. You get blurry, wiggly messes like this line. I'm saying all this because you might think upon seeing something like this that there's some kind of video editing happening. Because when you see wiggly lines like this, that can be evidence of something called masking, which is when a video editor basically inserts a new scene.
Just like this. I can sit here. Right. And then I can come in like this. Right. That's masking. Like, I can do it. It's quite easy. Like, there's the freaking, it's so annoying that people have such easy access to mask stuff and like fake everything, but that's what it is. It's quite easy. Anybody can do it. That's about how high my freaking editing skills get, but continue.
Into the footage. They basically like, Photoshop it in. I've caught this kind of thing before in viral ghost clips. See this? The edge of the wall right here? Watch it disappear right there. It's gone. Yeah. But yeah, I think in this case, it's just the camera struggling with low light, not necessarily evidence of any video editing. And the thing about this footage is that I struggle to find any blatant evidence of video editing in general. The only part that I find a little weird is right here, because the footage gets really dark, conveniently dark, just as the apparition walks into frame. Compare how dark it is here in this shot with the apparition to the very next time that the cameraman looks down that same hallway. See how bright it is here? You can see everything. But just 1 minute earlier, the hallway is so dark that you can't make out anything.
He has a fair point.
And this is strange behavior, not for the camera, but for the cameraman, a person named Dose. The boys aren't alone in Airedale Asylum. They've brought along 2 other people. There's camera A, operated by Alana, and camera B, operated by Dose.
The only people here right now is us, Dose, and Alana right over there.
We'll talk about Alana in a moment, but for now, I want to focus on Dose, because his camera work in this scene is very suspect to me. Not everyone agrees, though. Here's Eddie talking in his reaction video about Dose's pristine camera work.
I'm telling you, Dose is like a robot. He has like this cameraman intuition of pointed it right at the fucking moment.
So in Eddie's opinion, Dose got the perfect shot at the perfect time. But Actually,
he
Dose
could have.
got a very bad shot. Here's the incredibly dark, incredibly narrow shot he got of the apparition. And here's the brightly lit, wide view of the same hallway he got just 1 minute later. In fact, Dose looks down this hallway many times in this scene, and it's always the same. You see everything. Here's the first time Dose looks down that hallway, right after they turn off the lights. Here's the second time he records it, still nice and bright. About 15 minutes later, we get a worse view of it, but you can still see down the hallway. Here, Dose gets a great shot. Really wide, bright, you can see everything. So, all 4 of those shots are fine. Then, on shot number 5, for the apparition, for some reason, Dose pans to this hallway already zoomed in. And he insists on taking this really narrow, dark shot that is really unusual compared to the other 4 times he's looked down this hallway. He doesn't look down this hallway again until 60 seconds later when, once again, it's a great shot. Now, you tell me, which of these shots stands out to you
Number 8.
as the odd one out?
8.
Again, I'm not saying this is definitive proof it's staged or fake or anything like that, but you have to admit, it's a little suspicious. Here's
my thought on it. It's not staged nor faked. I genuinely think that he zoomed in. When he zoomed in, the camera did make it look like the shadowing of the room, of the zoom, the camera, that it looked like something was moving. That's just my view on it. I don't think they faked it. I don't think they staged it. I think they genuinely think they caught something. And as a paranormal investigator, it genuinely looks like a paranormal experience, like an apparition. But I personally don't think it is paranormal. I think it's just the camera of the zooming. If you wouldn't zoom in so much and it was like a still, and something passes by, I would be more of, oh, that's gotta be paranormal if they didn't stage it, fake it, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't think the boys nor Sam and Colby would do that. And so, it's just my point of view as somebody who's been doing this for many, many, many years. It's just zooming of the camera is what really kind of throws me off of saying for sure that it's not my thought 100% could be paranormal. I just think it's the camera. But that's my thought. His thought, your thought.
something else I noticed about Dose's camera work. Just before the apparition appears, the boys are freaking out. Mully even says, "Dude, you can see it!" And instead of spinning around to catch whatever it is Mully's pointing at, instead he zooms in on Eddie and Josh.
Dose is like,
okay, he has a fair point here. I was wondering the same thing because, if I'm doing it with somebody and they're like, "Look, I'm gonna," and try to catch it instead of catching the reaction. No offense to my friend, I don't care about the reaction. I want to catch the paranormal. So he has a fair point. Why didn't you? Unless he didn't fully hear them and wasn't really paying attention to what they were saying. Possibly. That's my thought on it. Like a
robot. He has this cameraman intuition.
And before this, even though all the boys are staring down this hallway, Dose keeps the camera on them for some reason. Now, to explain why this decision is so unusual, you'll have to understand how they have the cameras set up in this room. I've taken the liberty of illustrating it here with a little map. Okay, so you've got the boys and Sam and Colby up here against the wall, right? And then you've got Alana and Dose, the two camera operators, facing them. Alana's over here with camera A, and Dose is over here at camera B. The reason why Dose constantly capturing the boys' reactions instead of keeping a bead on the hallway where they're pointing is because Alana should be capturing that. That's why they have multiple cameras. So why is Dose pointing the camera at the boys so often and capturing what you would think would be repetitive footage? Why not just hold the shot down the hallway? In fact, Alana's footage is something of a mystery in this scene. We only see Dose's footage. The last time we see anything from Alana's camera is right here.
Bye.
No. Now you might say, maybe she's saying bye here because she's turning the camera off.
She's turning a lot off.
But no, as you can see, she's still filming. So this is very unusual camera work to me. It doesn't strike me as genuinely investigative camera work. Because if Dose was actually...
I mean, the way it looked, she's catching this way, like here's the boys. She's catching this angle. And he wants to catch this angle where you can see the boys against the wall and then also see the boys from this angle and capture Molly too. So you can capture all the boys. That's my viewpoint of why they're set like that and they're both, you know? Which it doesn't, I don't understand why they didn't have a camera facing out the doorway or in a different room if they keep getting a bunch of action. Like, I would be like, okay, well, you know, Alana, that I'll, you know, it kind of makes, I understand where he's coming from, but the way I see it is like, why didn't they have another camera facing out whenever stuff started popping off or like happening? And they're like saying they're seeing stuff, but like I get why they're like this, because they want to catch everybody and then make sure Molly's in it too, because Molly's over here a little further away and just spread out in the room. They want to catch as much angle as they can of the boys themselves. Why not another camera out there?
Actually trying to get a shot of the boys, what the boys saw, he'd keep his camera aimed down the hallway they keep intermittently pointing at, and he'd just trust Alana to capture their reactions. And even if he didn't keep a bead on the hallway the whole time, he'd at least whip around immediately.
Because like, here's he looking at Juicy and them and catching all like them over here, and Alana's catching Eddie and them are like on this side, and so right next to him is Josh over there. I don't know, but it's just like catching them all. You know what I'm saying?
Immediately, when Molly says something like, "Dude, you can see it. You can see it." Again, I'm not saying this is definitive proof. These are just things to think about. One last suspicious bit about this scene is that when the apparition appears, there's not a big reaction to it. Even Dose almost immediately pans away. He's acting like he doesn't see anything either.
Because in the moment, he just zooms in, zooms out, proceeded to record the boys again. And a lot of times that does happen. You don't see stuff whenever you're recording at the moment. You're like, you catch it later whenever you're focusing on the screen, you're actually watching, you're actually editing. That's where that comes from. I think he just zoomed in, zoomed out, didn't pay close of attention, and it happened so fast. Nobody, I don't think, in that situation would really see it. It's hard, especially on this little screen. Like, you're not gonna fully be like, oh, you know, y'all saw something go by right then, because it's, I'm sure they're editing and then they saw it and they're like, holy crap, look what I captured. And I just, that's what
it's really dark, you know after all. But a couple minutes later in the video, the boys show their reaction when they see the footage played back, which they introduce with this scene. We went back and looked the footage. You know, whoever's editing this should maybe proofread the title cards. Whoever they are. Anyway, here's their reaction.
What? What the? Oh my God. Holy.
They also insist that the apparition
see something keeps moving back and forth and you see it with your naked eye, and or your brain playing trick on you, because when it's dark your brain does that. People say like your brain gets bored and it's like staring in a mirror and then like you start seeing stuff. And I genuinely think that there could be a possibility of a ghost actually moving around in there, and that's why he zoomed in looking, why they went back to look at the video to see if it's actual paranormal. That's why. And then they actually take the time to genuinely just pay more attention. I'm not saying those weren't paying attention, but it's just
is unnaturally tall.
Cow.
Bookmark this point for later. it's important.
Okay, he's like the size of the door.
They're like 7 foot tall out there.
Now in this scene, they're watching the footage through the camera's LCD display, which you can see here is pretty much how it appears in the final video. They can clearly see the silhouette of a shadowy figure. But then, why did Dose act like he didn't see anything when he shot it?
He might not have.
The only explanation for not
He
being
might not have been looking at the screen itself. Like, I'm not defending. Like, I'm not trying to like say, oh, he's wrong. Nobody's wrong. It's just your own viewpoint on it. This is my viewpoint. He might have zoomed in, zoomed out. He might have not been looking directly at the screen. You know, the button's so easily to, you know.
Able to see the apparition while he was shooting it would be if he was looking through the camera's viewfinder, which is something you wouldn't do in a low light situation like this, because you wouldn't be able to see. Looking through the viewfinder is for suckers, apparently. Everyone on this crew watches on the LCD panel, where everything is nice and bright. Here's Alana looking at her LCD panel. Here's Narrator looking at his LCD panel. Colby's got his LCD panel out. Here's Sam with the LCD panel flipped so he can record in selfie mode. Eddie's looking at the LCD. Juicy with the LCD. Josh with the LCD. Even Mully is getting in on the LCD action. And finally, here's Dose, also watching the scene through the LCD. Well, that's everyone. Every single person here looks down at the LCD panel when they're shooting. So wouldn't it be extremely unusual if Dose, for some reason, wasn't looking at it when he shot the apparition? A cameraman looking to catch something in low light, who knows that the LCD panel brightens up what he's seeing, for some reason just wasn't looking at it. When you factor all these things together, Dose's behavior seems pretty unbelievable, to be honest. He got a bad shot at just the right time that he acts like he didn't see, even though they always look at the LCD panel, and he constantly panned away to get the boys' reaction faces, even though that's exactly what Alana's camera was there for. It's the behavior of someone looking to direct the scene, rather than naturally capture it. Which is interesting because Dose's Instagram bio doesn't list him as a cameraman for the boys. It lists him as creative director for the boys. Again, I'm not saying that it's fake. Actually, I think the footage is unedited. But
same.
Dose's behavior in particular seems to point to a possibility that it's staged. His actions are the actions of someone trying to stage something, frankly. But the boys wouldn't stage something, would they? After all, they promised they would never.
I genuinely don't want to present something that was prepared or staged or anything that could ruin the experience.
See, they didn't stage anything at Airedale Asylum, and they've never staged anything before either. Well, that's not exactly true.
Oh.
So John followed us in here, and he liked when I did the stanky leg, bro.
No, I did not. The footage of the Airedale Asylum apparition looks pretty good, but everything I just went over leads me to believe the most likely explanation is that it was staged. However, I also recognize that this explanation may be hard for the boys' fans to accept. And hell, Sam and Colby too, because if it was staged, then that unfortunately means Sam and Colby were probably in on it. And for the most part,
Again, I am a boys fan, and I don't think they staged it. But if they did, then they gotta put food on the table. That's all I'm saying.
majority of the fan base for both the boys and Sam and Colby really trust them. There's threads like these that pop up on the boys subreddit asking if people think their content is staged, and usually they arrive at the conclusion that it is not. The top upvoted reply to this thread, for example, states that it is, quote, not possible for it to be fake due to the equipment they...
But though when it comes to the boys, like it's funny. Like they're making a funny, and I don't think in this situation they staged it, but like other times, like he gets into, they do, and so you don't know for sure. But I still genuinely don't think they staged it. But I mean, it's to each his own.
They use? Of course, I went over the equipment they use earlier in the video, and I can say with certainty it's definitely still possible. Furthermore, this reasoning here also set off alarm bells with me. Eddie has said that they are not smart enough to where they could act like it's real. They're not smart enough to pull off fake content, guys. Case closed. Actually, Eddie in particular likes to make this point.
We're fucking blown away by this. We're not good actors. I know there's gonna be a lot of people saying, oh, that's fake. I don't fucking know what to tell you.
People still think that our shit is fake. Like, I don't know how else to prove it to anyone. Like, I guess we'll never be able to. We're not that smart. Okay?
Well, first of all, not to burst anyone's bubble, but I don't really think you have to be that smart or that good of an actor to make what is basically YouTube prank content, but in a paranormal context, right? But even that aside, this whole argument falls apart if there's examples of the boys blatantly staging paranormal encounters in previous videos. And there are. In May 2022, what I believe is the very first boys video where they do this real-life horror style content, they visit a so-called clown motel. And there's this one part where someone in a clown costume, wielding a knife no less, approaches them out of nowhere, and the clown even starts chasing them.
Just leave.
Thankfully, they all make it safely back to the motel and spend a lot of time recovering and debriefing from this traumatic encounter.
That was f***ing freaky. Who was that guy?
Who was that guy? Well, it was Eddie in a clown costume. Here he is admitting it.
It was me.
And when I first watched it, I genuinely had no idea. Like, I will say that they did very good job of like, I figured it was one of the boys, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you don't know. I didn't know, and they genuinely just no idea. So.
So apparently that's from a behind the scenes video that was uploaded for members only on the boys channel. So if you paid money, you found out it was just a prank. But if you didn't, then you only got to see the public version where some real stranger in a clown costume terrorized them at the motel.
Was that you?
What?
We were down in the cemetery and this clown with a knife came in a full suit like this. It looked like that.
You know, Eddie's right. They really aren't very good actors. Knowing that this clown thing was staged, what makes it especially funny to me is that as soon as they see the clown, which they know is really Eddie, narrator does this whole tough guy speech.
I'm just gonna let you know right now, ghost or not, you come at me, I'm gonna beat your
He has a
ass.
knife, dude.
I just love that narrator seizes the opportunity to look tough. He stares down this knife-wielding maniac in a clown costume.
Okay?
He's like, I'm gonna beat your ass.
He could have handled his
I'm sure the
himself.
12-year-old boys in their audience were really impressed. Anyway, the staged clown motel thing is like, well, alright, they did stage it, but then they uploaded a members-only video showing how they did it, so you could make the argument that they were being sorta transparent, and in fact many fans of the boys make that argument. Here's one fan of the boys claiming that if they staged anything, they would upload a members only video showing that they staged it, just like they did with the clown motel video. And if they don't, then that means it wasn't staged. But the problem with that admittedly airtight logic is that the clown motel isn't the only time they've staged something. It's just the only time they've admitted it. Exactly 1 year after the clown motel, the boys uploaded this video where they explore a so-called haunted hotel, and things start getting a little spicy toward the end.
I'm f***ing sick and tired of this place. I'm done. I'm so f***ing done.
Did you see it? Could have been the wind.
Did you see it?
Oh my gosh, there's a shadow person sitting up in bed in that room, perfectly situated to be seen from the hallway. This is a suspicious clip not just due to the convenient spot, but also due to the convenient framing. Just look at how Alana frames this shot. Juicy isn't centered in the shot at all. Instead, there's all this dead space to the left. There's no reason to frame the shot like this unless you're planning on capturing the side rooms. It's clearly a planned shot.
That does seem planned, and like Juicy like trying to hold in his giggle because he might know. But then again, you don't know. It could have been something paranormal. Or it could have actually genuinely be something in the room sitting there, like I don't know, some pillows and covers that looked like somebody sitting there. They could have staged it, they could have not. We don't know, but still.
But that's not all. Eddie reacted to this video after the fact and claims that no one saw it at the time of filming.
That looks like a fucking shadow.
It does.
I mean, none of us saw that.
If you watch a lot of the boys' videos, you'll start noticing that they say this a lot. None of them saw it as it was happening. But wouldn't Alana see it? Alana fervently watches the LCD display.
Once again, she might not have been staring. We're all staring at this area. She probably and most likely was staring at Juicy and or the person next to him to make sure that they stay in the shot. She's not going to stare down at the hallway. Like, I'm recording, I'm not going to stare at one section of the video, like of the, where I must look around, look this way and something might happen, you don't see it, it's happening so fast and walking, you know what I'm saying? I genuinely don't think it's staged. It could have been, I don't know. I went there to go back and be like, hey, go look in this room. Oh, it's just a pile of pillows or something. It's what it could have been.
While she's filming. You're telling me she didn't see this? Just like Dose apparently didn't see the apparition in Airedale Asylum, I find the idea that Alana didn't see this shadow figure hard to believe. But that's not the only time the boys claimed that they didn't see something in this video. I'll get to that in a minute. First, we have to show the bathroom stall incident.
Knock on the third stall 3 times, after which you say, "Are you there, Hanako-san?"
I don't feel good.
The boys try to invoke the notorious Japanese spirit Hanako-san by knocking on a bathroom stall. When they turn the lights off and knock, they claim the spirit is in the stall. They tell Mully to open the door.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Wow, real paranormal activity caught on camera. But let's go back to...
I think they're just making it funny, and people like me know that they're just making it funny. I genuinely think that they're made it so obvious of them making it funny that, of course, it's not paranormal in that situation. That's just...
To when the stall door is pulled closed, and we'll just brighten up that footage and slow it down. See if we can catch Hanako-san in action. Now, it looks nice and dark in there at the normal brightness you see on YouTube, but if you alter the gamma, you can see the murky image of a person. And when the door is pulled shut, you can see what appears to be a wristwatch or maybe just their sleeve moving in a backwards motion to close the door. Now, it's worth noting that throughout this video, the boys theorize that some locals are messing with them by slamming doors, making thud sounds in the ceiling, stuff like that. But you're telling me...
Which very much could be the possibility of the simple fact that I've been to many places, not a little lonesome, with people there. Squatters, people just chilling and hanging out. There's one incident I went and there was a group full of men upstairs and I smashed out. Like, it could be very much possibility that somebody knows that somebody's recording and just messing with them. Very much so.
A local hid in the bathroom stall like that on the off chance that they would come in and knock on the door?
Or it might be just
That's
hiding.
a dedicated local. Now, the boys actually haven't said, to my knowledge, that this stall incident was a person. Like with most of their experiences, they leave it up in the air. This last part, though, takes the cake. The boys are running for their lives after their encounter with Hanako-san, and when they get to the stairs, there's a moment where they catch a shadow figure at the end of the hall. A figure that Eddie claims, once again, none of them saw in the moment.
None of us saw any of these people or shadows or whatever.
It could be somebody
while
squatting
we were
there.
filming.
It could very much be somebody that is staying in that place. Could be somebody come and look at them themselves, like checking out the place themselves and just trying to hide from these people with a bunch of cameras. Like it could be very much possibility. And she could have just like looked and looked, or she could have went like this and like there's a lot of times you're not staring directly at the screen 24/7 like this. You're gonna like, oh, she could have like, not fully just like looking, and she's like, look over here, look over here, whatever. Continue.
We didn't see him until after the footage came out.
But not only does Alana once again tilt the camera to get a shot of this figure, which would suggest that she sees it, otherwise, what is she doing here? But when she swings the camera back, Josh is clearly looking over her head and down the hallway where the figure is. You're telling me he didn't see them? The plausible deniability claim that, oh, we didn't see anything in the moment, makes this video seem very staged. They clearly did see those people at the end of the hallway. Alana and Josh did, at least, and it doesn't make sense for them to lie about that unless they're trying to hide something. Here's another example of a staged video. The boys' first visit to Airedale Asylum, uploaded in August 2022. This one actually happens very early in the video. The boys challenge Mully to walk down a hallway completely by himself. And wouldn't you know it, in the minute and a half that he takes to do that, he captures a full-body apparition.
Dude!
Mully assumes it was a prank, but the boys say they don't know what he's talking about.
Wait, who scared you?
There's a lady in there!
What? Where?
The lady!
Molly. What lady? Who's next?
That genuinely seems like they knew. They knew. But I don't think Molly did. And I genuinely think that they did stage that one. That one there, I think it was somebody, and they're making it funny again. Excuse me. Because they genuinely look like, yeah, we know somebody's there. So.
Go to the end.
Not Molly,
and then they just move on like nothing happened. So, was it a prank? Like Eddie in the clown costume? Well, in Eddie's reaction to this video, he actually completely skips over this part, which is probably because it's staged. Now, some people in this video's comments theorized that this was actually not staged and that this is real footage of a shadow person. Just to disprove the idea that this is a, quote, shadow person, if you slow down the footage, you can actually see the skin of their forehead right here in the upper corner, so it's a real person. Eddie does mention in his reaction video to this that the tour guide at the beginning of the video, who's a woman dressed in all black, that she's the one who suggested to them this game of walking down the hallway by yourself. And in fact, I believe she pointed out the exact hallway that Mully is in this clip. And that's the only thing that he says about this sequence. All of that suggests to me that this was a prank by the tour guide, and they were clearly in on it, judging
but I don't think
by
Mully
them
was.
just being like, what lady? And then not investigating or ever mentioning this part of the video ever again. I could go on and on with more examples, but you get the idea. The boys have a clear history of staging paranormal activity. They've been transparent about some of them, but others they either simply leave up in the air or make a point to never mention again. But what does this mean for the full-body apparition they captured at Airedale Asylum? Is that clip one that they've still left up in the air, or have they tried to bury it?
Conclusion!
John.
Yes, Josh? Can I help you? One thing I kept reading from
quite
their
cute,
fans
like
was that the boys have
the little edit in, that's hilarious. I think it's top tier.
Gone on record saying that they used to stage things years ago when they first started these videos, but that they don't anymore, and they take paranormal investigation very seriously now. Now, I can't find exactly where they supposedly admitted this, but I gotta say, I don't believe that. I think that in the early videos, they were staging these things, but they were mostly just having fun with it, like the clown motel thing. But as time went on and they saw how much their audience was really getting into it,
I think it's more of time went on and stuff actually started happening, and then they started, I wouldn't say they didn't believe in the paranormal, but I think like they actually saw and have communicated with the paranormal and then believed it more to take it more seriously, if that makes sense.
I think the YouTuber light bulb went off in their heads of, hey, we should keep doing this. I don't think they stopped staging things, they just got better at it. I mean, just look at the difference between the shadow lady their first time at the asylum and the apparition from their second time there. The second time looks so much better. Now, who's present the second time that wasn't there the first time? Dose, their creative director, the guy who shot the apparition. It wouldn't surprise me if Dose elevated these stage shots to the next level a bit. Anyway, based on everything we've seen in this video, here's how I think it goes down. I think the boys have their staged shots in mind when they get to the location, and then they try them all out. They shoot stuff like walking past a door with a shadow person hunched inside, or run through a hallway with a shadow lady jump scare, or catch a full body apparition in the superintendent's office. And then they see how it plays. They review the footage after shooting it and decide how big of a deal they want to make out of it based on how good it looks. For example, I think this reaction is real.
What? Oh my God. Holy.
It's a real, genuine reaction. Except I don't think they're reacting in horror. I think they're reacting in amazement to how good the shot looks. Listen to how they talk about the shot in this scene.
We've never captured anything like that before.
Ever.
I can't believe you filmed
Press
that.
play.
Look,
What the f***, Dose?
These reactions sound to me more like YouTubers who know they've just filmed YouTube gold than people who've just seen a real full body apparition. I don't think they expected it to look as good as it does. Now, if the shots look
I genuinely think that they thought they captured paranormal. I genuinely think that. I don't, and then like, yeah, like I captured that, I swear it's a paranormal, it could be, but it very might be a bug. But to me, it's cool. It's great, top tier, great. That's what I believe. It's what they believe in.
Kind of bad or unbelievable, like the shadow lady bit. Well, they'll still put it in the video for sensationalism, but they leave it ambiguous. If you think it's fake, they have their cover story ready. It's either a prank they were playing for fun, or it was some real people, random people, messing with them on location. And if you think that it's real, well, they're perfectly fine just letting you continue thinking that. So that's if it looks bad, but if it looks good, then they'll roll with it full send.
What?
And once
Here's the thing though, I've been doing YouTube a lot.
If that is true, then I mean they gotta put food on the table. This is how they make money. You know what I mean?
Long time, and I'm very familiar with the YouTuber mindset. And one thing that rules a YouTuber's mindset is the excitement in the moment. Once that excitement wears off and you get the millions of views you wanted, the real story starts coming out. Time is the most reliable revealer. Now, it's been 11 months since this asylum video, and you would think that the clip of this full body apparition would still be haunting them to this day. But interestingly, that is decidedly not the case. 3 weeks ago, the boys uploaded a video counting down their top 5 most haunted moments they've had in their ghost investigations. And they even teased the Airedale apparition being their number 1.
Including one, which I think personally is the most convincing actual figure / spirit, ghost, whatever you want to call it, caught on film.
But shockingly, the Airedale apparition does not appear on their top 5 at all. The clip that Josh was teasing here is a much more ambiguous clip from their video investigating St. Augustine Lighthouse. But like, what gives? This full-body apparition at Airedale Asylum is, in many people's minds, the most compelling piece of paranormal video evidence ever. The comments were immediately all over it. Jocelyn here says, "My number one moment is when y'all captured the 7-foot Slenderman demon." That's the Airedale apparition, by the way. At one point they claimed it looked like Slenderman. "I always mention it to people and recommend them to watch it." Jacob here says it drives him crazy they didn't mention the tall apparition at Airedale, which he claims is one of the best documented ghosts caught on tape. Overdriver also agrees the most haunted moment is the asylum clip. And there are many other bewildered comments just like these, with hundreds and hundreds of upvotes. Funnily enough, the second most often cited moment was the clip of the shadow people at the end of the hallway in the hotel, which is another clip the boys seem to have disowned. So, what's the deal? Well, the boys actually give a vague reason for not including the Airedale Asylum clip at the very end of their top 5 video.
Because I know that there's some other moments that have come up that have been pretty crazy, but those are moments that we felt were explainable. You know, there's some things where, like looking at footage afterwards, we've kind of thought, well, people could have had access to that area of the house or blah, blah, blah. These are ones that we don't have any explanation for.
Yeah. So with this line here, Josh is saying that actually, the boys are collectively of the opinion that the full-body apparition they captured at Airedale is explainable, and that it could have just been someone messing with them. In other words, they've disowned this clip as paranormal evidence. Just like the shadow lady, just like the shadow people at the hotel, the Airedale apparition gets thrown into the corpse pile of clips they don't want to talk about anymore. And I think this is how the boys operate with these ghost hunting videos they do. They stage the clip, they keep it ambiguous so the door remains open for a rational explanation, most often being it was a random person messing with them. Then after so many months, they quietly move on from it. Even if it's something that would be a totally life-changing experience, like seeing a 7-foot apparition in person. That's one thing about this Airedale apparition that they're conveniently leaving out. They say it's explainable, it could have been a person messing with them, but it's like they forgot everything they said about the apparition's unnatural height. Here's Eddie's reaction in his video right after the asylum video went live.
Knowing that there were other people on property, I can't make any certain claims. And also at the same time, there was no staff members that were that tall with that long legs like that. Like, bro.
See, this is the problem. The boys misstepped with this one. They commonly leave the door open for a rational explanation, like maybe it was a random person.
Maybe that was someone else that was sitting there, like another person that was in the hotel.
But that goes out the window when you say over and over that the apparition was over 7 feet tall.
They're like 7 foot tall out there.
In that footage, that thing looks way too fucking tall to be a person.
I think the boys thought this footage was so good, they thought they'd put a little cherry on top by also saying that the apparition was too tall to be a real person. But in doing that, they kind of told on themselves. Not only did they not offer up a rational explanation for the 7-foot giant apparition, they seemed to brush it under the rug in their top 5 video. Because now that the clip has made the rounds, 11 months later, they don't really need to defend it anymore. If it sounds very calculated, that's because it is. I think that the boys try to appear like they're always goofing off. We don't know who's editing this video. We're not good actors. We're not that smart, right? But in my life, I've found that a lot of people who play up the goofball bit tend to be surprisingly calculated people. And I think that's true here too. Again, this is just my explanation. People asked me to take a look at this clip and get my thoughts, so that's what I did. The camera work in this scene suggested that it was staged. They've admitted and even shown video evidence of staging clips before, and now they won't even directly address this clip, even though many consider it to be the most compelling piece of paranormal evidence ever. And after all this, I can't help but think back to at the very beginning of this asylum video where the boys were very openly making fun of the fake psychic duo, Cody and Satori. And for the record, I think Kotori did something much, much worse. But it's still a little ironic to make fun of people pretending to contact the paranormal when you're pretending to film the paranormal.
A. Sam and A, B, C. Sam and Colby? Sam and Colby?
My genuine thought on the situation is that they genuinely think they captured paranormal. Is some of it fake or staged? It very much might be. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. But like the situation with the I think the only one they actually did stage for sure in my mind is the lady, which okay, and again, this is them making great content. This is them making something where it gets a bunch of views and how they make money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always going to be a top tier The Boys fan unless they do something absolutely horrible, and I pray they never do. They seem like they're genuine about it. They seem like they're telling the truth on their side, and you got where I was coming from, the way I saw it. And The Boys are still, will always forever be one of my favorite paranormal investigators, coming from a paranormal investigator. And I know my content will never really get looked at because I'm more of, I joke around and stuff, but like it's not as much as what they do. I will say that everything you see on my channel is 100%. I will try my hardest to debunk stuff that I've captured that I think is paranormal. Will tell you exactly what I think. And if you don't believe me, then it is what it is. Just like, we all have our thoughts, just how he has his thoughts. You have your thoughts, I have my thoughts. It's okay. We're all thoughts. Again, that's a terrible joke, but you know where I'm coming from? If you don't, then it is what it is. And I will still continue to watch The Boys and continue to love their paranormal videos and continue to believe that they're genuine about it. Most of it, at least. Because I feel like they will make it very clear whenever they're joking. Like, oh, in the bathroom situation, too, where it was quite obvious they were making it funny. So, okay. God bless my God, your God. This video went on probably way longer than expected. And if anybody wants me to go back and watch the Sam and Colby, I will, but Lord have mercy, they are long, so bye. Did I say God bless my God, your God, I said God? Anyway, we do. Bye.